Good moon day. Yes, another week, work week has started. The week officially started yesterday, I guess. Constance gave me a wonderful suggestion for this week, and by golly, I every once in a while I actually am wise enough to take her suggestions. She always knows best. Uh, I may know everything, but she is always right. But anyway, let's go through the week with maybe not an official, technical, formal invocation of the planetary spheres, but an informal thing of the planetary spheres of the days of the week. And I know of no better uh, Crowley magical, dramatic ritual uh, honors that theme than his seven rites of Aloysius that were first published in Equinox Volume One, Number 6. Uh, and Of course, I'm not going to read through all of the rites because it's just too long, and there's huge, long excerpts of poetry in it. And the whole idea of the rites of Eleusis is to induce a trance or sort of a hypnotic reverie in the audience that corresponds to the consciousness level of the planetary sphere involved. But it nevertheless is a brilliant collection of rituals, poetry, dance, and music. And if you've never been lucky enough to be part of or witness one of the rites of Aloysius or all of them, you really should take the effort to find where you might see one or all of them on video. The wonderful OTO people in Seattle have actually mounted them professionally in a series as a rock opera, as a 7-part rock opera, uh, with and produced it for the public. And I'm sure that you can find the videos uh, for sale of that. But if you've got the Equinox uh, or any other of the publications that have the rites of Aloysius, you really ought to study them. But we're going to just start, okay? It won't take long. But let's go through the rites of Aloysius, not in the order that they were written, because the order they were written was going from Saturn, number 3, to Jupiter, number 4, to Mars, number 5, to the Sun, number 6, to the Venus, which is number 7, and Mercury, which is number 8, and Luna, which is number 9. But I thought, for our purposes, let's just sort of get a taste of the rites as applied to the days of the week. So we'll start with Luna, Monday. And most of the rites start with one of the cast members reading from Captain Fuller's Treasure House of Images. And the one for Cancer is the 12-fold certitude of God and the unity thereof. So I'm going to start with that and get us in the mood, just like Crowley wanted everyone to be in the mood when the rite started. But just for your information, the officers of the Rite of Luna are Luna herself, and she's silent through the whole thing. She's throned in the center, uh, veiled, except for the very end. She's in a silver robe and veil. She has a violin. She's the Lady of the Moon. The next major officer is Cancer, who wears an amber robe. He bears a cup. He's the warden of the Holy Grail. Now, the moon rules Cancer, so he's one of the officers. Taurus is in an orange robe, has a bow and quiver. He's the lord of the bow. And the moon is exalted in Taurus. So we've got the officers, the ruler, and the exaltation. And then there's a nymph in a white robe. She represents the north node of the moon, or the head of the dragon. And there's a satyr in a black robe, and he represents the south node of the moon, which is the tail of the dragon. And then there's the guy that does 99% of all the work in the Rite of Luna, and that is Pan, who wears a black robe, and he plays a tom-tom. In the east, Luna is throned, Cancer on her right, Taurus on her left. Beyond these is the satyr and the nymph at the apex of a descending triangle upon the earth, sort of like a tree of life thing here, is Pan. That's how it starts off. Now, a probationer or somebody, some volunteer, gets up, gets everybody in the mood with the Cancer chapter, or the 12-fold certitude of God and the unity thereof, from the Treasure House of Images. O thou sovereign warrior of steel-girt valor, whose scimitar is aflame between day and night, whose helm is crested with the wings of the abyss, I know thee. O thou four-eyed guardian of heaven, who kindleth to a flame the hearts of the downcast, and girdeth about with fire the loins of the unarmed. O thou sovereign light, and fire of loveliness, whose flaming locks stream downwards through the aether as knots of a lightning deep-rooted in the abyss, I know thee. O thou winnowing flail of brightness, the passionate lash of whose encircling hand scatters mankind before thy fury as a wind scud from the stormy breast of the ocean. O thou sovereign singer of the revealing winds, of the reveling winds, whose voice is as a vestal troop of bacchanals awakened by the piping of a panpipe. I know thee, O thou dancing flame of frenzied song, whose shouts, like unto golden swords of leaping fire, urge us onward to the wild slaughter of the worlds. O thou sovereign might of the most ancient forests, whose voice is as the murmur of unappeasable winds caught up in the arms of swaying branches. I know thee, O thou rumble of the conquering drums, whose lulleth to a rapture of deep sleep those lovers who burn into each other, flame to fine flame. O thou sovereign guide of the star-wheeling circles, the soles of whose feet smite plumes of golden fire from the outermost annihilation of the abyss. I know thee, O thou crimson sword of destruction, who chasest the comets from the red bed of night till they speed before thee as a serpent as serpent tongues of flame. O thou sovereign archer of the darksome regions, who shooteth forth from thy transcendental crossbow of the many-rayed suns into the fields of heaven, I know thee. O thou eight-pointed arrow of light, who smiteth the regions of the seven rivers until they laugh like maenads with snaky thyrsus. O thou sovereign paladin of self-vanquished knights, whose path lieth through the trackless forests of time, winding through the abyss of unbegotten space, I know thee. O thou despiser of the mountains, thou whose course is as that of a lightning-hoofed steed leaping along the green bank of a fair river. O thou sovereign surging of wild felicity, whose love is as an overflowing of the seas, and who makest our bodies to laugh with beauty, I know thee. O thou outstrider of the sunset, who deckest the snow-capped mountains with red roses and strewest white violets on the curling waves. O thou sovereign diadem of crowned wisdom, whose work knoweth the path of the sylphs of the air and the black burrowings of the gnomes of the earth, I know thee. O thou master of the ways of life, in the palm of whose hand all arts lie bonden as the smoke cloud betwixt the lips of the mountain. O thou sovereign lord of primeval berserkers, and I have to confess, let's all look up berserkers together later this morning. O thou sovereign lord of primeval berserkers, who huntest with dawn the dappled deer of twilight, and whose engines of war are blood-crested comets, I know thee. O thou flame-crowned self-luminous one, the lash of whose whips gathered the ancient worlds, and who looseth the blood from the virgin clouds of heaven. O thou sovereign moonstone of pearly loveliness, from out whose many eyes flash the fire clouds of life, and whose breath enkindleth the abyss and the abyss, I know thee. O thou fountainhead of fiery aether, in the pupil of whose brightness all things lie crouched and wrapped like a babe in the womb of its mother. O thou sovereign mother, of breath of being, the milk of whose breast is as a fountain of love, twin jets of fire upon the blue bosom of night, I know thee. O thou virgin of the moonlit glades, who fondleth all as a drop of dew in thy lap, ever watchful over the cradle of our fate. O thou sovereign, all-beholding eternal sun, who lappest up the constellations of the heavens as a thirsty thief a jar of ancient wine, I know thee. Thou dawn-winged courtesan of light, who maketh me to reel with one kiss of thy mouth, as a leaf cast into the flames of a furnace. Glory be unto thee through all time and through all space, glory and glory and glory everlastingly. Amen, amen, and amen. And briefly before we close, the opening to the Rite of Luna is absolutely priceless. And it sort of actually sets the stage in your mind of of what's going on. You know, every in a ritual, officers knock. So many knocks mean so many things. So the knocks in the rite of Luna, there are 9 knocks because Luna is the 9th planetary sphere. But the knocks, instead of just going 9 knocks, they're broken up into batteries of 3. That is an invocation of the moon. Right there. The officer who plays Cancer goes. Then Taurus answers. Then Cancer says, Brother Taurus, what is the hour? Moonrise, Taurus answers. Brother Taurus, what is the place? The chapel of the Holy Grail. Cancer says, what is my office? Warden of the Grail. What is my robe? Chastity. What is my weapon? Vigilance. Whom do we serve? The Lady Artemis. How many are her servants? 9. Who are they? 3 for the dew, 3 for the rain, and 3 for the snow. Who are the great officers? Thyself, Warden of the Grail, myself, Lord of the Bow, a nymph, a satyr, and then Pan, way down in Malkuth, at the lower part of the stage, stands up and goes, and Pan. Okay, just briefly, this is an invocation of Artemis. Okay, the magical formula of the myth of Artemis sort of sets the stage and provides literally a cup to pour the magic of the rite into. And if you'll, when they say, what is my weapon? Oh, when they say, what is my robe? Chastity. Okay, Artemis was chaste. She was not only chaste, but she was chaste. Okay. And her dogs chased people. Okay. And what is my weapon? Vigilance. Okay, she was a very vigilant because she had so many would-be suitors. Okay. So this is going to be an invocation of Artemis. And as a matter of fact, this was the prototype of all of the rites of Eleusis. They actually did a rite of Artemis prior to the creation of the rites of Eleusis. They did it at the business office of the Equinox, and they invited the press, and they got everybody absolutely stoned on mescaline without them knowing it, because there's 9 libations here. And the press, they were stoned out of their minds after the rite of Artemis said, this is really a great thing here. And they got so much good press with the rite of Artemis that Crowley was encouraged to write the rites of Eleusis. So, but anyway, I'm just going to read the brief, small poem that ends the rite of Luna, and then we'll end for the day with our moon invocation. Pan, of course, recites it. And he advances to the throne of Luna while he does it. Uncharmable charmer of Bacchus and Mars, in the sounding, rebounding abyss of the stars. O virgin in armor, thy arrows unsling in the brilliant, resilient first rays of the spring. By the force of the fashion of love, when I broke through the shroud, through the cloud, through the storm, through the smoke, to the mountain of passion volcanic that woke, by the rage of the mage, I invoke. By the midnight of madness, the lone line sea, the swoon of the moon, your swoon into me. The sentinel sadness of cliff clinging pine, that night of delight, you were mine, you were mine. You were mine, O my saint, my maiden, my mate. By the might of the right of the night of our fate, though I fall, though I faint, though I char, though I choke, by the hour of our power, I invoke. By the mystical union of fairy and faun, unspoken, unbroken, the dusk to the dawn, a secret communion, unmeasured, unsung, the listless, resistless, tumultuous tongue. O virgin in armor, thine arrows unsling in the brilliant, resilient first rays of the spring. No godhead could charm her, but manhood awoke. O fiery Valkyrie, I invoke. And with that, he tears down the veil that throughout the entire ritual had veiled Artemis or Luna herself. And she plays Bach's Chaconne on her violin, okay, in the original one. And then it ends with Cancer going, and Brother Taurus goes, Brother Warden of the Grail, our task is ended. She was unveiled. Cancer says, let us depart. It is accomplished. Okay, let us depart. It is accomplished. Let's get on with our week. Tomorrow, being Tuesday, we'll play with the Rite of Mars. And until then, continue to be good to yourself. Be safe. Be cautious. Think about others. Be conscious of others around you. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.